If you want to become incredibly powerful in Hogwarts Legacy's combat, you will definitely want to learn the Dark Arts. With these spells and their associated talents, it becomes possible to burst down bosses and kill entire groups of enemies with a single spell. And don't worry, there are no bad consequences to doing this. So we'll tell you how to get access to these spells, a way to try them out before unlocking them, how to use them to their maximum potential, and way more. If you've been enjoying Hogwarts Legacy and the content on our channel, then leave a like to help us out, subscribe for way more spoiler-free tips and tricks videos for the game, and let's go. So the way you unlock the 3 unforgivable curses is by following the side story for our Slytherin companion Sebastian Sallow. Crucio is the first of these that becomes available, as you can learn it during the In the Shadows of the Study side quest, which unlocks after the High Keep main story mission. If you're unsure how to progress, look for the quest with this text bubble icon, as these will help you progress companion storylines. And important to note is that your choices during these quests do not impact your ability to learn any of the unforgivable curses. You always have the option to reject or accept dark magic during the quest, but if you choose to refuse, you can come back to Sebastian in the Undercroft later and ask him to teach you the spells. You should do this before the end of his quest line though, it's pretty clear when you are about to embark on the final quest. So smart to pick these dark arts up during the missions or later on, because there's honestly really no reason not to learn these spells even if you don't plan on using them, as there seem to be no in-game repercussions for you effectively breaking the wizard law. Back to Crucio, as it's a really useful spell, especially if you upgrade it. In its normal form, it deals damage over time and completely locks a target in place for a full 20 seconds. It also places a curse mark on an enemy, which is this cross-shaped mark that, among other things, increases your damage against the target. The damage over time is not great, and neither is the damage increase from cursing an enemy, because as you can see here, my regular attacks against the Dugbog deal 27 damage, but after I place a curse mark on it with a different spell, it only goes up to 29. Which is an ability that's unlocked through the talent tree, by the way, which I'll cover a little bit later in the video. But locking a target in place with Crucio for 20 full seconds is great, as it allows you to unleash all of your other spells on them to cause quite a lot of damage. Certain bigger targets like trolls are unaffected by Crucio, although it does place a curse mark on them, but it will work on infamous enemies, so the ones with the big health bar you can find out in the open world. And to make the spell even better, you can unlock the Crucio Mastery talent. With this talent unlocked, attacking the target hit by Crucio will spawn homing projectiles that will curse enemies if they hit them, and will also break shields of any color, which is by the way also true for all of the unforgivable curses. I recommend locking onto your Crucio target to make sure you hit them to get the most out of this effect. So combined with this talent, Crucio is amazing for quickly cursing multiple enemies, which is something that becomes a lot more useful a bit later on. The next unforgivable curse on the list is Imperio, which is picked up during the In the Shadow of Time mission, which is available pretty soon after it turns winter in the story if you've been keeping up with Sebastian's side quest. Again, you can choose to learn the spell during the quest or later from Sebastian, but I definitely recommend picking it up during the mission, as it's a really strong spell and can really help you out during some of the harder encounters. You can use it to make an enemy fight for you, and it can be used on pretty much any enemy. With the exception of some main bosses, Imperio works on the strongest of creatures like the giant matriarch spiders, trolls, and infamous enemies, which will then fight on your side for 20 seconds while also taking reduced damage. And stronger targets will deal massive damage by themselves, as you can see this dark wizard pretty much single-handedly take down the reinforcements she called in. If you pick up the Imperio Mastery talent, their attacks will also curse other enemies. And like with Crucio, Imperio is also very powerful, because you can use it to deal massive damage to enemies without them being able to hit back. You can attack a target under the effects of Imperio, even though they are your ally, and they won't hit back for the duration of the spell, although if there are still other enemies around, it's probably smart to keep your Imperio target alive so they can serve as a distraction. But of course, the quickest way to take out any enemy in the game is with the killing curse Avada Kedavra. The quest to learn this spell, In the Shadow of the Relic, only becomes available very late into the story, pretty much at the end if you also do Sebastian's quest whenever they pop up, and the recommended level for this quest is also level 28, although you can start it under leveled if you want to. But all that is for a good reason, as it allows you to take out any enemy with a single spell, regardless of their current or total health. The cooldown on it is very long to compensate for this power, but that is something you can work around by making sure you have a lot of focus potions. potions. You can buy either the potion or the recipe needed to make them yourself at Pippin's Potions in Hogsmeade, and it reduces the cooldown on all of your spells for 15 seconds. With a focus potion, you cut the timer down from 1.5 minutes to about 35 seconds, so really a huge improvement. If you're, by the way, in need of some extra cash to buy these items, Jordan made a video on an easy way to get lots of galleons, so I'll link to that one in the video description. But if you play it clever, you only need to cast Avada Kedavra once to kill multiple enemies. You see, the killing curse is a single target spell, but if you unlock its mastery talent, it will bounce off and also target every other enemy that is currently cursed. So this is where all those curse marks really come into play, as spreading those around means you can get more than one kill when you use your most powerful spell. My opening gambit for pretty much any fight is to target one enemy with Crucio, then constantly attack them to spawn those projectiles and spread curse marks to as many other enemies as possible. And then you follow up with Avada Kedavra to instantly take out most, if not all, enemies in a group in the blink of an eye. So again, it makes sense that you unlock this later on in the game, as it makes you really overpowered, but I have to say, doing open world activities, especially combat related ones of course, with all these dark magic spells and talents feels really good. If you don't want to wait that long before trying out the Unforgivable curses, you can already try them out in the Dark Arts Battle Arena, which is located over here in the Forbidden Forest, very close to the East-North Hogwarts region Flue Flame. You can only access this arena if you bought the Digital Deluxe edition of the game, or if you bought the Dark Arts pack separately, but in this arena, all 3 Unforgivable curses are temporarily added to your spell list so you can try them out. Sadly, you can only unlock a talent for a spell once you've actually unlocked the spell for yourself, so no way to test those and the amazing tactic we just explained in this battle arena. Even still, you can already get a taste of the power that Crucio, Imperio and Avada Kedavra will bring before you decide to learn them for yourself. And even without these spells, you can already dabble in some dark magic as soon as you unlock the talent tree. That is a main story unlock, so after completing the mission Jackdaw's Rest, you can start picking up skills from the Dark Arts tree. The talents for each of the curses that we mentioned earlier can be found there, but there are also talents that give you new ways to apply curse marks or enhance their effects. So for instance, you can unlock a talent that makes you apply curse marks with Stupefy, so your counter attack you perform by holding triangle or Y when an enemy attack is about to hit you. There are also talents to apply curse marks with slottable spells, specifically Expelliarmus, Flipendo and Arresto Momentum. Since you can't respec your talents, I recommend only getting the talent for spells you use a lot. In this case, I personally recommend Flipendo because it has a relatively low cooldown, meaning it's an easy way to spread more curse marks around, which gives you even more targets to insta-kill if you're using the Avada Kedavra tactic I mentioned earlier. And having a lot of curse marks on enemies is made even better by picking up the Blood Curse talent, which causes damage to all cursed targets when you hit a marked enemy, although again, the damage isn't great here. The good news is that there is a trait to increase your damage to cursed targets called Unforgivable to make this playstyle a bit better. You can also increase the duration of a cursed effect on an enemy, but without the upgrade, a curse mark lasts for about 20 seconds, so I'd argue that you don't really need it. I did check if this talent also increased the duration of Imperio and Crucio, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It only doubles the duration of your curse marks from 20 to 40 seconds. The Curse Sapper talent is really good though, restoring a decent chunk of health when you kill a cursed enemy, although in order to pick this one up, you need to be at least level 22. Still though, with how easy it is to spread curse marks with some of these talents, it can give you a lot of healing when you need it. Let us know if you found more overpowered combos in Hogwarts Legacy, and subscribe to not miss any of our spoiler-free tips and tricks videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and if you want, you can watch our previous video on some important things the game doesn't tell you by clicking on the screen. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.